In this video, we will be reviewing the laboratory procedures for our Biodiversity and Agriculture student lab. In this lab, students will be comparing a farm field that uses alternative methods such as no-till farming to a field that uses a typical traditional method of a monoculture farming strategy. Students will need a clipboard to record their data on. Students will also need a tape measure or yardstick to measure out a set plot within each field. Students will also need flags or markers in order to mark the corners of the plot that they measure out. You'll also need a net to go through and collect their insect counts. And then they will also need a brush to go along with the shake sheet that they'll use for a final collection of insects in the field. And finally, students will need a set of forceps and a collection cup to collect any of the insects they find. The first step is going to be to measure out a plot within each farm field. Students can use their flags and tape measure to measure out this plot. It's important that it's consistent between each field. For this lab, we used a 3-foot by 10-foot plot. Then the next step is going to be to do a visual observation in the field, simply noting any insects or animals observed. Then students will go through with their sweep net to go through and aggressively catch any insects using a back and forth motion. Then students will use their brush and sheet to go through and aggressively brush any insects off of plants and into the sheet, going through the field for one final time. Then students can combine what they captured in the net onto the sheet, and then they'll be able to go through this using their hands or forceps in order to try and identify and count as many insects as they can find. Students can also use the collection cup to collect any of the insects that they find and could later identify these and record these on their lab handout or data table. Then students will be able to compare the number of insects and animals counted between the traditional farm field and the farm field that uses alternative farming methods in order to determine which had a greater biodiversity.